Molly is a friend. Molly is a coworker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me. We've been partners on the show for the last 10 years. And a lot of times some of these things happen and it's just uncomfortable to see.
Molly Qerim's sudden departure shook the industry to its core. Fans were stunned, social media exploded, and whispers turned into wild theories overnight. Now, explosive new footage between her and Stephen A. Smith has surfaced, showing heated exchanges that flip the entire story on its head. Stephen looks like he's trying to fix things, but that tension, you can feel it through the screen. Viewers are desperate for the truth. What really went down when the cameras weren't rolling? This footage might finally pull the curtain back on the shocking exit and the chaos brewing behind ESPN's doors. The sports media world went into total meltdown on September 15, 2025, when Molly Qerim, longtime host of ESPN's flagship debate show First Take, abruptly resigned from the network. This wasn't some quiet goodbye or standard career move. This was an earthquake that rocked the entire sports broadcasting scene, leaving fans, insiders, and even co-workers scrambling to piece together what could have caused such an unexpected, dramatic exit after nearly a decade on First Take and almost 20 years with ESPN. The timing couldn't have been more shocking, more bizarre, or more mysterious. There was no farewell episode, no emotional montage, no slow goodbye, just a cold, clean break that had people asking the same question: what happened inside ESPN's walls that made her walk away so suddenly? The very next morning, Stephen A. Smith, her fiery co-host and one of the most powerful voices in sports, jumped on his SiriusXM radio show to address what everyone was whispering about. His reaction became an instant headline and would be dissected, replayed, and debated for weeks on end. The emotion in Stephen's voice was raw, real, and completely different from his usual over-the-top energy.
A lot of times some of these things happen and it's just uncomfortable to see. The details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business, but it's not as if I know all the details.
Fans weren't used to seeing him like this, not yelling, not debating, but reflecting. He sounded shaken, even hurt, as he spoke about Molly's abrupt departure. But as his tone shifted, his words started to get cryptic. He hinted that there was more to the story, way more, and that some details are just uncomfortable to see. That one line sent the internet spiraling into full-blown detective mode. What was Stephen talking about? What did he see that he couldn't share? Why was he protecting information that could explain one of the biggest media shakeups of the decade? His vague comments created a massive information vacuum, and you already know what happens next. The rumor mill went into overdrive, with online sleuths, gossip blogs, and sports insiders all fighting to uncover the missing pieces. Even when Stephen tried to explain himself later, dropping a few hints about contract tensions, his words only made things murkier. Negotiations in TV are always tricky, but this felt personal, deeper than just money or contracts. Something behind those ESPN walls clearly went down, and now everyone wants to know the real story behind Molly Qerim's explosive, mysterious exit. It wasn't just about money. It was about control, respect, and power. Behind the scenes, there were serious talks about creative control, scheduling, flexibility, and even long-term career direction. ESPN reportedly wanted to keep Molly Qerim, but she chose to walk away, which says everything. Something deep had broken in those talks, something big enough to make her leave one of the most powerful seats in all of sports television. Molly confirmed her exit through an Instagram post, thanking fans, colleagues, and the network for the years she spent at ESPN. But her tone? Calm, polished, and mysteriously vague. She called the decision difficult but necessary, hinting at new opportunities ahead, without saying what pushed her out. The post looked like a goodbye, but between the lines, it felt like a warning shot. It was the type of PR perfect statement that looks heartfelt but hides the truth. Behind the smiles and polite words, the real story started to leak out fast. Insiders whispering to reporters, anonymous sources dropping hints, and the sports world buzzing with theories. ESPN's president of content, Burke Magnus, called it a mutual decision caused by contract misalignment, saying Molly was given a clean break to explore new options. Sounds neat and professional, right? Too neat. That explanation didn't sit right with fans who've seen this movie before. Everyone could sense there was a lot more going on behind closed doors than the network was letting on.
It was a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the end, she made a decision to walk away from the show effective immediately, as you see from her Instagram post, her Instagram story.
Then came the bombshell. Former ESPN analyst Marcellus Wiley jumped on his Hydration Situation podcast and dropped some serious tea. He claimed the issue wasn't just about money, it was about power plays and internal politics gone wrong. According to Wiley, the tension inside ESPN wasn't new, but this time it reached a breaking point. He revealed that Molly had reportedly been asking for a major raise, from her $500,000 to $800,000 range up to something that matched her true value as the face of First Take. She also wanted more, a new show, a solo spotlight, a chance to expand beyond just being the moderator. And honestly, who could blame her? After years of holding her own next to big names, she wanted her moment to shine. But then Wiley said something that made everyone stop scrolling. He claimed that Stephen A. Smith's influence at ESPN was so massive that nothing major happens without his nod. When Stephen signs off on you, you get what you want, Wiley said flat out. That statement changed the whole story. If true, it meant that Stephen could have backed Molly, could have helped her secure that new deal, but didn't. Wiley suggested Stephen stayed silent, maybe even distant, during those critical talks. And that silence? It spoke volumes. After 10 years sitting beside him, Molly reportedly realized she was fighting a battle she couldn't win without his support. Feeling boxed in and betrayed, she decided to walk away entirely. The message was clear. If even Molly Qerim couldn't get fair treatment with Stephen A. by her side, then no one at ESPN is truly untouchable. Marcellus Wiley didn't hold back. He pointed straight to Molly Qerim's complete omission of Stephen A. Smith from her farewell post as proof that things behind the scenes had gotten ugly. He said, "They weren't cool with each other, to the point where someone you've worked with for 10 years doesn't even mention you when they're gone." That hit hard. Fans couldn't ignore it. How could someone spend a whole decade sitting beside a co-host, sharing the spotlight, laughing, debating, and building one of ESPN's biggest shows, only to act like that person doesn't even exist in your final goodbye? It screamed tension, resentment, and maybe even betrayal. Something deep went down, and that silence said it louder than any words ever could. Wiley didn't stop there. He called out what he described as unfair pay gaps within ESPN, saying that even personalities like Mina Kimes were reportedly earning more than Molly, despite having smaller roles or less airtime. That sparked a firestorm online. People started asking whether ESPN truly valued its on-air women equally, or if other politics were shaping who got paid what. The whole thing shined an uncomfortable light on how the network chooses its stars, and who it chooses to back when money's on the table. Then the story took an even darker turn. More reports started leaking that Molly's relationship with Stephen A. had been crumbling for months before she left. One claim that blew up across blogs alleged that a higher-up close to Stephen said ESPN never really liked her as a talent. If that was true, it meant Molly was fighting not just one person, but the entire power structure of the network. It painted a picture of someone boxed in, isolated, and slowly pushed out. Former ESPN host Emmanuel Acho jumped in too, and he didn't hold back either. Speaking on the Speakeasy podcast with Kieran Hickey Simple and LaShawn McCoy, Acho ripped into Stephen A., accusing him of making things worse instead of protecting his longtime co-host. He said Stephen half-told the story, revealing some details about Molly's exit while claiming he didn't know the rest and asking for privacy. To many, that sounded shady and calculated. Acho and the others argued that Stephen's statements just fanned the flames, creating more mystery instead of clarity. They said his dramatic tone only fueled public curiosity, turning Molly's departure into a full-blown scandal instead of letting her control her own story. Fans started wondering, was this about business or was it about ego and power? But Stephen A. didn't stop there. He doubled down on his SiriusXM show, delivering one of his longest, most intense monologues ever, and it was impossible not to notice who he was really talking about. He launched into what sounded like a lesson about leverage, value, and knowing your place in the media game. He said success in sports TV isn't just about talent, it's about persistence, loyalty, and knowing your worth before demanding more. But the timing and tone made it clear, this wasn't just a random speech. It was aimed directly at someone. Even though Steven kept insisting, "I'm not talking about Molly," everyone listening knew exactly who he meant. That denial fooled no one. It was sharp, pointed, and personal. A not-so-subtle jab wrapped in a philosophical rant. And just like that, what started as a resignation turned into one of the most talked-about power struggles ESPN has ever seen. Stephen A. Smith's comments hit hard, and many felt they weren't just random reflections but direct shots. His words seemed to suggest that while Molly Qerim believed she deserved higher pay and better opportunities, she simply didn't have the leverage to demand them. Whether that meant lower ratings, weaker bargaining power, or fewer offers outside ESPN, the message was loud and clear. In Steven's eyes, she didn't have enough pull to walk away like that. But to truly grasp how shocking Molly's exit was, you've got to understand what she and Steven had built together. Their on-air chemistry wasn't just good TV, it was electric. The kind of dynamic that made First Take a daily must-watch for millions. Their relationship was complex, unpredictable, and full of the kind of spark that makes viewers feel like they're witnessing something real. When Molly officially joined First Take as the full-time host back in September 2015, she stepped into a pressure cooker. Her job wasn't easy. She had to control two powerhouse personalities, keep the debates balanced, and still bring her own insights and edge. And she nailed it. Her presence gave the show rhythm, a balance between Steven's fire and the guests' bold opinions. By then, Stephen A. was already the face of sports talk TV, loud, confident, and unfiltered. But Molly brought something different: poise, sharp wit, and the ability to challenge him in real time without losing her cool. Their back and forth became iconic, full of laughter, playful jabs, and genuine connection that made viewers feel like they were watching two friends who respected each other but loved to go toe-to-toe. Steven publicly praised her countless times over the years, calling her both a friend and a colleague I depend on. He even credited her with elevating First Take to new levels of popularity and cultural buzz. Fans could feel the chemistry. It wasn't fake, it wasn't forced. It was lightning in a bottle. Their moments together often went viral, but one stood out above all. During a heated segment, Steven questioned Molly's athletic abilities, and she did not let that slide. She clapped back instantly, challenging him head-on, saying she could outdo him if given the chance. The crowd went wild. That unscripted, fiery moment spread like wildfire across social media, a mix of humor, tension, and pure competitiveness that showed just how natural their connection was. It wasn't just about laughs, though. Molly proved time and time again that she wasn't just a moderator, she was a player in the debate. One unforgettable exchange came during a discussion about the Boston Celtics championship run. Molly confidently texted Steven during a live game, teasing him for doubting her predictions. Fans watching could practically feel her confidence jump off the screen. Steven, half laughing and half embarrassed, read the text live on air. From 9:32 p.m., "I'm looking at this text from Molly. She's going off on me during the game. She's saying, 'The Celtics are winning this and you know it. Party's over.'" That's what she said, the night of June 8th. The audience erupted with laughter. It was playful, bold, and perfectly showed how well she could hold her ground against one of the most dominant voices in sports media. That moment wasn't just TV gold. It was proof of how much chemistry, confidence, and genuine connection Molly brought to First Take. That's what made her sudden exit so shocking, because for years, they weren't just co-hosts. They were a brand. And when that partnership cracked, it left fans wondering, if this duo could fall apart, what else was really going on behind the cameras at ESPN? Molly Qerim's comeback after Stephen A. Smith read her private text live on air was classic Molly. Sharp, funny, and just a little bit savage. She laughed it off, made a few jokes, and stood firm on her basketball take, proving once again that she could match Steven's energy blow for blow. Those kinds of moments, spontaneous, chaotic, and hilarious, were exactly what made First Take must-watch television. Their bond always seemed unshakable. Steven often compared it to a brother-sister relationship. They'd tease, argue, and push each other's buttons, but always bounce back with mutual respect. That's what made viewers believe in their chemistry. It felt real. But even the strongest TV duos can have cracks. And looking back now, fans are rewatching certain funny clips and realizing maybe some of that tension wasn't all for show. Some on-air moments that once seemed like harmless banter are now being seen in a whole new light. Maybe those quick eye rolls, subtle interruptions, or sharp comments weren't jokes after all. Especially one moment in June 2025, just months before Molly's exit, when she abruptly cut Steven off live on air. He looked like he was about to reveal something private, maybe even personal, and she stepped in fast to shut it down. At the time, it looked like she was just keeping things professional and keeping the show on track. But now, that clip's being dissected frame by frame online. Some fans say her body language screamed discomfort, like she was drawing a line, telling Steven, "This far, no further." It might have been the moment that hinted at deeper cracks behind that picture-perfect on-air partnership. Marcellus Wiley circled right back to that too, doubling down on his theory that their relationship had soured long before Molly's exit. On his Hydration Situation podcast, Wiley pointed again to her farewell post and how she never once mentioned Steven by name. To him, that wasn't an accident. That was a statement. Years of tension and frustration, hidden behind smiles and studio lights, were finally breaking through. And then came the question that's haunted First Take for years. Was there ever something more between them? The rumors have been nonstop since 2015. People noticed the chemistry, the looks, the banter that sometimes felt too natural. When Molly and Jalen Rose announced their divorce in 2021, gossip blogs lit up like wildfire. Fans immediately began speculating that maybe her connection with Steven had crossed into personal territory. Then, things really exploded. Former NBA player Kwame Brown, who'd been beefing with Stephen A., jumped online and dropped a viral bombshell. In a fiery rant, he flat-out accused Steven of having an affair with Molly while she was still married. He claimed it was insider info being whispered around NBA circles. The video went viral instantly, blowing the internet up with conspiracy threads and wild claims. Both Molly and Steven were quick to shut it down. Hard. They denied everything, calling the rumors false and disrespectful. Steven went on record multiple times saying their relationship was strictly professional, while Molly stayed classy, never feeding into the gossip. Still, the speculation refused to die. By April 2024, things had gotten so out of hand that they actually addressed it on air. It was one of the most tense and talked about episodes in First Take history. Two co-hosts facing rumors head-on, trying to clear the air while the world watched every word, every look, and every pause. Even then, some viewers said the tension in that room told its own story, one that ESPN's cameras could never fully capture. During one First Take episode, guest Chris Mad Dog Russo joked that Stephen A. Smith and Molly Qerim's matching outfits looked like wedding attire, and Stephen wasted no time firing back. He used the moment to call out the long-running rumors once and for all, slamming them as flat-out lies. You could see the frustration on his face. Years of whispers and gossip had clearly worn him down. Even Jalen Rose, Molly's ex-husband, had spoken on the rumors before. In a 2022 GQ interview, he called the speculation laughable, saying the three of them, him, Molly, and Steven, actually laughed about it privately. Rose made it clear their divorce had nothing to do with cheating or betrayal. It was about two people with demanding careers, constantly traveling and barely having time to breathe, let alone maintain a marriage. Still, the internet wouldn't let it go. After Molly's abrupt exit in September 2025, the rumor mill reignited with new theories. Some claimed their alleged romance had ended badly, saying that maybe things got too awkward to keep working together on live TV. Wild stories started popping up all over social media, with people connecting dots that probably weren't even there, but the timing made it hard not to wonder. Then things got messier. In January 2025, a woman named Nikita Pearson came forward in a YouTube video, claiming to be Stephen A. Smith's girlfriend. She accused Molly of spreading false rumors about Stephen, even alleging that Molly had been romantically pursuing him herself. Her video went viral instantly, but it came with zero proof. No documents, no receipts, no verification. Just her words and a storm of speculation. Neither Stephen nor Molly ever responded publicly to Pearson's claims, and major outlets quickly noted that none of her accusations had been confirmed by credible sources. Still, the story added another layer of chaos to an already tangled web of gossip, turning what might have been a standard media exit into a full-blown tabloid circus. Despite all the rumors and messy online chatter, one thing stands unshakably true. There's no real evidence that Molly and Stephen were ever romantically involved, past or present. What is undeniable is the magic they created together on screen. Their chemistry, energy, and balance helped turn First Take into one of the biggest, most influential sports shows of the last decade. Their connection, whatever kind it truly was, reshaped ESPN's entire talk show format. Off camera, both have always kept their personal lives locked down tight. Stephen, born in 1967, has revealed in interviews that he's a proud father of 2 daughters, but he's never been married, and he keeps his private life extremely private. Meanwhile, Molly, born in 1984, had her marriage to Jalen Rose play out in the public eye from 2018 until their 2021 divorce. Molly's also opened up bravely about something far deeper than workplace drama, her ongoing battle with severe endometriosis. In 2024, she spoke candidly about her health struggles on First Take, turning her platform into a moment of advocacy and awareness. She said the pain was debilitating at times, but that she wanted to use her voice to help other women going through the same thing. It was one of her most heartfelt and powerful moments on air. Fast forward to October 1st, 2025. Molly Qerim made her first public media appearance since her ESPN exit, proving she's not backing down or fading away. She appeared at the University of Connecticut, hosting a live Q&A with UConn men's basketball head coach Dan Hurley about his new book, Never Stop: Life, Leadership, and What It Takes to Be Great, co-authored with sports writer Ian O'Connor. She looked confident, composed, and totally in control, like a woman ready to write her next chapter. And the word on the street? Reports are swirling that Molly's next big move could be a deal with Fox Sports. According to industry insiders, the deal would have her covering NFL games, college football, and high-profile NCAA basketball matchups, maybe even hosting one of Fox's flagship sports programs. If that's true, then Molly didn't just walk away from ESPN, she leveled up. If the rumored Fox Sports deal goes through, it'll mark a whole new era for Molly Qerim. She'd be stepping far beyond the fiery debate setup that made her a household name, branching into live coverage, interviews, and in-depth storytelling that could finally show off the full range of her hosting talent. It's the kind of evolution that would introduce her to audiences who never tuned into First Take. A massive glow-up in every sense. But not everyone sees her ESPN exit as clean or fair. Some reports straight up described ESPN's contract handling as disrespectful. Industry insiders claimed the network's attitude toward her renewal played a big part in her decision to bounce, as if they underestimated her value right up until she walked away. For someone who helped shape one of the network's biggest shows, that kind of treatment had to sting. Meanwhile, Stephen A. Smith's so-called philosophical rants about leverage and market value, while insisting, "I'm not talking about Molly," didn't fool anyone. Fans and analysts agreed. He was talking about her. His tone, his timing, the context, all of it lined up too perfectly. It felt like he was low-key telling his version of what went wrong in her negotiations, just without saying her name out loud. Add that to the way Molly left. No farewell episode, no emotional goodbye, and a statement that conveniently left out Stephen's name, And you've got all the ingredients for a full-blown media mystery. Insiders close to the situation have hinted that there was way more going on behind the cameras than ESPN wanted out there. Whispers ranged from business beef to personal tension. Some said Molly wanted Steven to go to bat for her during negotiations, and he didn't. Others believed she resented the massive contract extension ESPN gave him while she was left fighting for fair compensation. The gap between their salaries reportedly rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, especially given her decade-long contribution to First Take's success. Then came the bombshell. In her official farewell statement, Molly revealed that someone inside ESPN leaked her exit before she was ready to make it public. That revelation shook fans and colleagues alike. It wasn't just about leaving anymore. It was about betrayal inside the building. The leak turned what should have been a graceful exit into a messy public spectacle. It showed that her relationships at ESPN had frayed not just with Steven, but possibly with upper management too. Online, the drama only grew wilder. Over on Reddit, a massive thread on r/NBA exploded with more than 2,000 upvotes and over 670 comments, all trying to decode the real story. Theories flew everywhere. Some said it was about clashing egos, others whispered about personal fallout, and a few believed it all boiled down to cold business politics. One of the top-voted comments summed up what thousands were feeling. After all these years, she deserved better. That one line said it all. Fans believed Molly had put up with a lot: the pressure, the imbalance, and being overshadowed, all while keeping her cool on national TV. Even on X, formerly Twitter, reactions were emotional and divided. Some mourned the end of a legendary duo, while others called it poetic justice, a sign that even in the high-stakes world of sports media, power always plays favorites. Either way, one thing's clear. Molly Qerim's exit wasn't just another TV shakeup. It was the unraveling of a partnership that had defined a decade of sports debate television. After everything, the debates, the chemistry, the whispers, it all came crashing down in a storm of questions and speculation. Fans noticed how Stephen A. Smith suddenly mentioned having a girlfriend on air not long after Molly Qerim's exit, and the timing had people talking like crazy. One user even wrote, "Kind of funny, isn't it?" hinting that maybe his announcement wasn't just random at all. The streets of social media ran wild with theories, each one messier than the last. Others online said they'd give anything to be a fly on the wall during those final days between Steven and Molly, wondering what conversations, confrontations, or behind-the-scenes drama might have gone down before everything fell apart. The curiosity isn't dying down anytime soon, because what ended on camera as a calm goodbye clearly hid a storm brewing off-screen. This whole saga has become bigger than just two media personalities. It's now a case study in power, loyalty, and what happens when money and ego start running the show. The way this story unfolds could shift the entire sports media world. If Molly's rumored Fox Sports deal becomes official, and she lands that huge role covering NFL, college football, and NCAA basketball, it'll prove she made the right call by leaving. It'll send a loud message to every on-air talent feeling boxed in or underpaid. Sometimes walking away is the real power move. But if things don't go as planned, if she struggles to find a platform as big or influential as First Take, that could validate what Stephen A. was preaching all along about leverage and knowing your worth before making big moves. Either way, everyone's watching, because Molly Qerim's next chapter might redefine how women in sports media fight for fair treatment and respect in a cutthroat industry. It's wild to think that what began as one of sports television's most iconic partnerships has ended in mystery, mixed emotions, and speculation about betrayal behind the cameras. For years, Steven and Molly gave fans unforgettable TV moments, fiery debates, sharp insights, and chemistry that felt real. But now, that legacy is clouded by rumors, resentment, and questions that may never be answered. Whatever the full truth is, whether it's about contracts, respect, or emotions that went too far, this story is proof that in the high-stakes world of television, success doesn't always mean stability. Even the brightest duos can fall apart when pride, pressure, and power collide. So what do you think really happened between Stephen A. Smith and Molly Qerim? Was this just business gone bad? Or something much deeper? Drop your thoughts down below, hit that like button, share this with someone who follows the drama, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Because trust me, the next one's gonna be even wilder. See you on the next one.